Yes, today's topic is cysticercosis. What are the infectious disease we have covered already? Malaria and tuberculosis. So cysticercosis is a small topic. So metazoa are multicellular eukaryotic organisms. These parasitic metazoa are usually contracted by their two ways: consuming the parasite, which is often present in the undercooked meat, or by direct invasion of the host through skin or via insect bites. So these are the two ways the parasitic metazoa is contracted, and they dwell in many sites in the body. They include skin, liver, lung, muscle, blood vessels, lymphatics. And how do we diagnose these infections? When diagnosed by microscopic identification of the larva or ova in excretions or tissues, and by serology. So these are the these are the two ways the diagnosis is made. Okay. So cysticercosis and hydatid cyst are two diseases. They are caused by tapeworms, cystodes. So the causative agents are Taenia solium and Echinococcus granulosus. Echinococcus granulosus. These Taenia solium and Echinococcus granulosus are cystode parasites or tapeworms, and they cause cysticercosis and hydatid infections. So Taenia solium causes cysticercosis and Echinococcus granulosus causes hydatid infections. So how it is transmitted? It is caused by larvae that develop after ingestion of the tapeworm eggs. They have a very complex life cycle and they require two hosts. A definitive host. क्या हो गया था? मैंने बोला just go out of the class. So definitive host and intermediate host. So they have a complex life cycle and they require two mammalian hosts. Okay, don't talk. Definitive host in which the worm reaches sexual maturity, and intermediate host in which worm does not reach sexual maturity. So this is the way we define the hosts, definitive and intermediate. So now coming to the structure, the morphology, how a Taenia solium tapeworm looks. What are the parts of a tapeworm? So they have a head. Head is also called as scolex, and that has suckers and hooklets. So Taenia solium tapeworms consist of head, scolex that has suckers. The head has suckers and hooklets that attach to the intestinal wall. So in histopathology, when we get a biopsy of an organ with suspected cysticercosis, we can see all these structures of cysticercosis. The suckers, hooklets can be seen. They have a neck, and down the neck we have flat segments called proglottids that contain both male and female reproductive organs. So new proglottids develop behind the scolex, and the most distal proglottids are mature and contain many eggs. These proglottids can detach from the body and can be shed in the feces. These can be transmitted in two ways: by ingestion of larval cyst or by ingestion of eggs, with distinct outcomes. So larval cysts are called cysticerci. So they have two distinct outcomes. So the two outcomes are teniasis and cysticercosis. Larval cysts called cysticerci are ingested in undercooked pork and attached to the intestinal wall. These usually does not cause much symptoms. They cause mild abdominal pain and they do not cause cysticercosis. So cysticercosis do not develop when when anybody ingests undercooked pork or larval cyst. This is called teniasis. and these larval cysts, they attach to the intestinal wall where they develop into mature adult tapeworms. These can grow to many meters in length and produce mild abdominal symptoms. Okay, and the parasite life cycle is completed with this mode of infection, and cysticercosis do not develop. So cysticercosis do not develop with ingestion of undercooked pork containing larval cysts. So how? So this is two things. Can you see there is teniasis and there is human cysticercosis. So when there is ingestion of infected or poorly cooked pork, the person has mild abdominal symptoms and there is development of mature adult tapeworms inside the body, and they do not cause cysticercosis. That is called teniasis. Okay, and in case of cysticercosis can develop in pigs and humans. So human cysticercosis is caused by ingestion of Taenia solium eggs by fecal contamination, and porcine cysticercosis also caused by ingestion of Taenia solium eggs or proglottids. Okay. So this is how, that was teniasis and cysticercosis. Now this is how cysticercosis develops. So eggs, number one, eggs or gravid proglottids in feces pass into the environment. What is the sound? Eggs or gravid proglottids in feces and passed into the environment, and these proglottids are ingested, these eggs or gravid proglottids are ingested by embryonated eggs. These are ingested by human host. Okay, and then these oncospheres, these eggs, they hatch and then penetrate to the intestinal wall and circulate to the musculature. So now cysticerci may develop in any organ. From the muscle, it can penetrate to any organ, but they can also go to the subcutaneous tissue as well as brain, where it is called neurocysticercosis, and the eyes. Now this is in the humans. Now what happens in the pigs? These eggs or gravid proglottids in the feces are taken up by contaminated water, if the water is contaminated, and they are taken up by they are ingested by the pigs. Now in the intestinal wall of the pigs, these oncospheres will hatch and circulate in the muscles. They develop into cysticerci in pig muscle. Now humans are infected from here. Humans are infected by ingesting the raw or undercooked infected meat. That means the pigs are infected. Now humans are eating that raw or undercooked pork, and humans are getting infected. The scolex attached to the intestine of adults in small intestine, and again the eggs and proglottids are released in the environment. Okay, so this cycle continues. So this is the same thing. So intermediate host, the pigs or humans, they ingest the eggs in food or water. They are contaminated with human feces. The larvae hatch and penetrate the gut wall, and they disseminate hematogenously, encyst in many organs, and there are various clinical symptoms of cysticercosis depending upon the organs involved. If there is encystment in the brain, so it is called neurocysticercosis, and the clinical features are convulsions, increased intracranial pressure, other neurological disturbances are seen. In this, adult tapeworms are not produced. Adult tapeworms are produced after ingestion of undercooked meat by humans. The adult tapeworms are produced. That does not cause cysticercosis. Okay, but here in cysticercosis, adult tapeworms are not produced. Okay, so in this, the eggs in the food or water is taken up, larvae hatch, and they penetrate the gut wall, and these are encysted in many organs. Okay, these larval cysts cause cysticercosis, not the adult tapeworms. You should remember that. Yeah. Adult tapeworms are formed in teniasis, and the larval cysts are lodged in various tissue, and they cannot develop into mature adult tapeworms, and these cause cysticercosis. Viable teniasolium cysts often do not produce symptoms because they can evade host immune defenses by producing teniastatin, paramycin. So they produce something, some mediators, and sometimes they do not produce symptoms, and they can evade host response. And when cysticerci die and degenerate, there is a huge inflammatory response. Huge inflammation develops. So that was Taenia solium. Taenia solium causes cysticercosis. Taenia saginata is a beef tapeworm, and Diphyllobothrium latum is a fish tapeworm. Are acquired by eating undercooked meat or fish. In humans, these parasites live only in the gut and they do not form cysticerci. Now a little bit about Echinococcus granulosus. Hydrated cyst is caused by ingestion of the eggs of Echinococcus species. For Echinococcus granulosus, the definitive host is dog, and usual intermediate host are sheep. And for Echinococcus multilocularis, the fox is the most important definitive host, and rodents are intermediate host. So humans, these usually does not occur in humans. Humans are accidental intermediate host infected by ingestion of food contaminated with eggs shed by dogs or foxes. Okay. So this is the morphology. Cysticerci can involve any organ like brain, muscles, skin and heart, and they produce cerebral symptoms when the cyst is located inside the brain, and it depends upon where it is located, whether it is intraparenchyma attached to the arachnoid or freely floating in the ventricular system. Cysts, how do the cysts look grossly? They are ovoid and white to opalescent, often grape-sized, and contains invaginated scolex with hooklets, and that are bathed in clear cyst fluid. So I'll show you the pic. This looks like this. So they are white, translucent, opalescent white structures, and you can see the cystic cavities there, that side. Okay, they are fluid filled. This is the histopathological section of cysticercosis. You find clear cut. If you see this in histopathology, that means the patient has cysticercosis. Thank you.